Hello my viewers, welcome back to the channel. And by the video title, you know what this video is about. Who is the best receiver in the NFL? That's what this video is about. We're going to go through some of the best receivers who I believe are the top 10 guys in the NFL and who is the number 1 guy in the NFL. So we're going to dive into that list right now. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, before we get into the list, I gotta do some honorable mentions. Of course, some of the young guys, like Garrett Wilson, who's the Rookie of the Year. He's not on the list, of course, because he still need more consistency over time as well. But Garrett Wilson is very good. He's gonna be very good too. I feel like he's gonna make the second-year jump. Same with George Pickens. Same with Chris Olave. Those guys right there stood out the most to me out of the first-year receivers. Those guys had that like first. Receiver 1 type potential because you like watch their game, watch their style, especially Chris Olave with the speed he has, and he was able to like not just be a deep threat, but he was able to actually move the sticks and be one of those receivers who ran nicer routes. It was a reliable target on third down. And he just made big time plays, had 900 plus receiving yards, and then George Pickens had 800 plus receiving yards, making big plays down the field, vertical plays down the field, and just being that type of like game changing type of receiver out there. And of course Garrett Wilson. With 1,100 receiving yards, going out there and playing amazing football with all different type of quarterbacks as well. He had Zach Wilson in at first. He had Mike White, and then he also had Joe Flacco. He had different quarterbacks coming in and out with different style, different play style, the way they throw the ball and stuff like that. And he still was able to communicate well with those guys and still go out there and win Rookie of the Year. So that right there was very cool. But those guys, maybe the next season when we do the list, they'll be on the list. But right now, the honorable mentions we have. Of course, it's Christian Kirk, who had a big-time year last year. The past 2 years, he's been playing pretty good, but last year was his best year, in my opinion. He played amazing football for the Jaguars. He kind of showed you that he can be a true number 1 receiver and went out there and balled out. They got to the playoffs. They won a playoff game. They came close to winning that second playoff game in the divisional round, but they fell a little short. But that right there was spectacular. Deebo Samuel is also another guy on the list, too, as well. I know Deebo Samuel, look at his numbers and stuff. He had one big time year, of course, but his impact on the game where he like plays both receiver and running back like that, and go out there can make plays on either with the handoff or either in the air is always very cool to see. On Deebo Samuel, when he touches the football, he just makes plays. Another guy is Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle, I know some people might say his success comes from Tyreek Hill, but before Tyreek Hill got there, Jalen Waddle had the most catches ever by a rookie, passing Jarvis Landry, I believe, and he also had 1,000 yards. He had 1,000 yards too as well before Tyreek Hill got there. And then when Tyreek Hill was there, he still put 1,000 yards as well. So Jalen Waddle has been very consistent, and I feel like he's going to break through that top 10 like that because he's a big-time playmaker. When he get the ball in his hand at any level, and the screen pass, it can be an immediate pass, it can be a deep pass, especially a deep pass. He's gone like that. You can just kiss him with a Tyreek Hill, the little 2-piece fingers, the goodbye, just zooming out because you're not catching anybody who's doing that. Like you're not catching nobody with that type of speed at 4.29 speed and stuff like that. You're not catching those guys. Those guys in Miami have different type of speed. And then last but not least on the honorable mention list, who almost made the top 10 list like that. I kind of got 2 people at 10 actually because I couldn't decide. But Martin St. Brown, very good for the Lions. St. Brown went out there and balled out. He's a guy who you can rely on and trustworthy. And I feel like he's a number 1 receiver like that. He can go out there, and I feel like next year he's going to break through the top 10 list. It was hard for me to decide the last 10 spot because I had 2 guys on tied for 10 right now, but I was like, St. Brown could be up there really too like that. So St. Brown could be in this top 10 list easily. St. Brown has been consistent over the past few years and just playing and getting better and better. His brother is pretty good too on the Bears like that. But the Lions, St. Brown is nice, a nice receiver. You watch him, especially in fantasy football. I remember my friend Larry in fantasy, he had St. Brown, and St. Brown jacked me up a few times on fantasy. I was like, dang, he was catching everything like that. He was just having like 9 catch games, 8 catch games, 7 catch games, 8 catch games. I'm like, dang, like he's going crazy like that and having big time plays and stuff. He made the big time plays in the big moments, and that's what kind of like she's that receiver. Of course, the numbers is cool and all, like having 100 catches and 1,000 yards, but making those big time plays in those moments, like those big time crucial plays, and like being a reliable target on third down, that's what truly makes a top receiver. Now, at number 10, I have a tie between DeAndre Hopkins and scary Terry McLaurin. man, Diddy Hawkins, of course we know what he can do when he's playing a full season. Last year, even though he got suspended for the first 7 games because of that PED that he used to kind of like speed up his healing process from that ACL injury. I think it was an ACL, meniscus injury that he had, MCL or something like that in his knee. But Scary Terry is on this list because Scary Terry, he had like all different type of quarterbacks playing right there. I think his best quarterback was probably Ted Heineke because Carson Wentz was playing awful like that. But he had different quarterbacks coming in, and he still was able to put up big time numbers and to be a big time force. He doesn't like now. He has, of course, he has Jahan Dotson, who's a good guy too, but he had some injuries last year like that. But at first, Scary Terry didn't really have no other counterpart. Curtis Samuel was injury prone as well. Him and Jahan Dotson had some injuries last year, but Scary Terry went out there and balled out, being the #1 target and being when teams come in like saying, "Hey, we just take him out the game and we win." But he was still out there playing amazing football, and hopefully this year, they can actually win some more games with the playoffs because that guy on Terry McLaurin is amazing. But Hopkins and him kind of have a similar type of story a little bit because Hopkins played with a lot of different quarterbacks as well, like that. But he still was able to ball out and play well too as well. They have similar game style. Of course, Hopkins being I think a little taller than Terry McLaurin. But Terry McLaurin is a very nice receiver, and yeah, I had to put him on the list, so I tied it at 10. But St. Brown, I could argue him up there in that 10 spot as well, like that. But those are number 10 spot from my receiver list. Next, I got CeeDee Lamb from Dallas Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb is a nice receiver. He's kind of merged himself into being top 10, being a reliable, trustworthy target. Now, sometimes he'll drop things as well, but he make more big time plays than those little bad drops to be happening occasionally here and there. But he's a guy who can change the game like that. You target him, you give him the ball in his hands like that, and he can go out there and make some big time plays. And ever since he got in the league, he's been just playing big time football. I mean, for the first people saying like, "Oh, it's Amari Cooper," but now Amari Cooper got traded and he's gone. Now it's just CeeDee Lamb there by himself, and he's still out there balling and making big time plays. So I had to add him to the list. Next I have Mr. AJ Brown. AJ Brown is built like a truck, like receiver. I think about 6'1", about 225, 230 pounds, like that. He go out there and he can just run some guys over like that. Run some guys over, the powerful hands, vertical threat. And with the Titans, we seen him, of course, play good with the Titans. Like he was a Pro Bowl receiver there. But this is like the best version we've seen of him now because now he's more of a priority. At first, in Tennessee, they can run the ball. They'll run first team. So it's more of Derrick Henry getting his stuff. And then we'll see AJ Brown get some targets here and there. But now we see him getting like the amount of targets that some of the other guys are getting. And we see him getting more looks and stuff down the field. Him being like, hey, he's the #1 option on offense to go to right there. Now we're seeing AJ Brown be big time. He came into Pittsburgh. Oh, was that Pittsburgh? We was in Philly. It was somewhere, but he destroyed my Pittsburgh Steelers that one time. He had, I think, like 3 touchdowns, 150, 60 yards, something crazy. He destroyed us that one time. But AJ Brown is an amazing player, big time player, very strong physical receiver. Those receivers you love having as the #1 option because they can go out there and just like no matter who's on them, no matter who's guarding them, they go out there and they're just like the ball like they change the 50-50 ball into a 60-40 ball because they're so physical like that, and their physicality. They're not scared to match the DB's physicality. They get around them like that, and AJ Brown's one of those guys, and he's amazing. Of course, Devonte Smith, his counterpart, is good too. He's been very consistent. He was I had him behind Christian Kirk a little bit, but Devonte Smith, his first year, he broke the record for most receiving yards in the Philadelphia Eagles history. And then the next year, he broke the record for most receiving yards by a rookie in Philadelphia receivers. Philadelphia Eagles receivers history. That sounds kind of weird. Philadelphia Eagles receivers history. Let's say the Eagles history. Yeah, because it sounds kind of weird saying the full name. But then the following year, he had 1,100 yards like that. He made some big time plays as well. So and people kept saying when he was younger, saying that he was too small. He can't be a receiver. He's not big enough. He's too skinny. He going out there and balling. He had 2 big time years like that. Got to the Super Bowl as well. So I think him and AJ Brown gonna be a nice duo for a long time. Amari Cooper is another guy on the list who I got at that'd be what 7. Yeah, at 7. Amari Cooper been very consistent. You look at Amari Cooper numbers, it's been very consistent. He's been very consistent for the past 6 years, past 5-6 years. Been very consistent, and he's one of the best route runners. He got to be top 3 if they're route running in the league like that. His sideline awareness, the way he catches the ball, the way he worked the sideline, the way he plays. He reminds me of Kawhi Leonard a little bit like that. Now, of course, Kawhi Leonard, of course, being top 75 player. I don't know if Amari Cooper top 75 player, but you never know when it's all said and done. But Amari Cooper, his ability, like just go out there, he's not really too emotional type of player like that. He just go out there and just play like a machine like that. And his route running is amazing. Everything is spectacular. His catching ability, his quickness. I still was surprised. I remember a while ago when the Raiders traded Amari Cooper. I was like, that's a little crazy. And that's how I knew they were sabotaging Derek Carr a little bit. I was like, they traded Amari Cooper away, and then the Cowboys traded Amari Cooper away, which was a bad decision in my opinion as well. Because why would you not? Like, I want to have Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. I just want to have one of the guys. I want to have both of the good guys like that. I said the more weapons, the better. But the Cowboys still doing pretty good without him. But the Browns going to be doing good with them. Deshaun Watson can get back on board and get back to that level that he once was like that. I feel like the Browns with Amari Cooper being there as their guy is going to be something spectacular. Next on the list at number 6, I have Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp last year had the injuries and stuff, probably because he was basically getting. It was basically Cooper Kupp or nothing last year, and he took a lot of hits, had of injuries that happened to him. But Cooper Kupp is an amazing receiver. He's a guy who's always open, making big time plays. That year run he had when the Rams won the Super Bowl, which was 2022, right? I believe so. Yeah. That year right there was a crazy year. Crazy year right there. He went crazy. He was a Triple Crown winner. He was also Super Bowl MVP as well. That big time drive he had when Matt Stafford just threw the ball to him, and then the game-winning touchdown he had in the end zone. Cooper Kupp was the number 1 target as well too. Of course, Odell went down eventually in that game. He had the touchdown, but Odell went down eventually here to tear his ACL in that game. And Cooper Kupp was the guy. They was focused on Cooper Kupp getting double teamed, but it didn't matter. Cooper Kupp went out there and just balled out and made big time plays. And he's a very good receiver when healthy. And every year you look at his numbers, he got better and better and better and better. And now he's up there as one of the top 10 best receivers in my opinion. I wouldn't put him top 5 just yet. They still need some more time. I remember one time I seen the worst take I ever seen. Well, that's a lot of bad takes, but I think it was Mad Dog. He was talking about he said Cooper Kupp retired. I think it was the year that Cooper Kupp won a Triple Crown, hit the Triple Crown title thing that he had. But he said if Cooper Kupp retired that year, he would have made the Hall of Fame. I was like, come on, Mad Dog, you gotta stop. I like that right there is he was debating against Ryan Clark. That was a bad take. I'm like, just because you have one good year doesn't mean, well, a few good years doesn't mean you're a Hall of Famer. Now it's the NBA Hall of Fame. You probably can get in after 1 or 2 good years. But NFL Hall of Fame, you got to put the consistency up for like 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, like that. Have a stretch where you're like going crazy. Because a guy like Sterling Sharp should be in the NFL. I mean, NFL Hall of Fame. Because like you look at his numbers, Sterling Sharp numbers was second to none. He played in the era with Jerry Rice and stuff, and he had more receiving yards in that span. And you compare his numbers. I think Sterling Sharp had a 7-year career for that. Forget that injury that ended his career. I think you compare his numbers with Jerry Rice in that span, it's neck and neck like that. So you can't tell me he's not a Hall of Famer. Sterling Sharp should be in the Hall of Fame. I feel like the Hall of Fame should be about what you did over that time. It shouldn't be about like longevity. He played 12 years. I feel like if a guy come in the NFL and play 5 years. A guy played 6 years in the NFL, 5 or 6 years in the NFL. Let's do 6 years. 6 years in the NFL. He was a first team All Pro 3 of those years. Second team All Pro 2 of those years. So he had 5 All Pro selections, 3 first teams, 2 second teams, and he was a 6-time Pro Bowler. And he retired after that short time. And he was an Offensive Player of the Year 2 times that year as well, and won a Super Bowl. Should he be in the Hall of Fame? I think so. In that 6-year span, he dominated. He was All Pro, best of the best like that. 5 times, 3 being first team and 2 being second team. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler, one of the best as well, and a champion and Offensive Player of the Year a couple times too. So I feel like they should take into account of like your accolades, your accomplishments you've done in that span like that. If you know you didn't play a full like 10, 12, or 15-year career, but in that span where you dominated for like 5 to 6 years, that should be taken into account. Be like, okay, this guy's a Hall of Famer. He dominated the game for 6 years right there. Like that, and like no one was better than him in that 6-year span, like that. So I feel like that should take into account. Like it shouldn't be measured up to anything else. You should take into account of those numbers they put into those years and be like, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. I feel like they should do it for Sterling Sharp because he's amazing. You like watch his highlights. Of course, that's before my time. I'm only 21 years old, but that's before my time. But Sterling Sharp, if you go back to watch the highlights and watch his little football life story and to see the way other guys, like some of the greats, like Jerry Rice and all the other great receivers and players talk about him who are in the Hall of Fame. That should tell you something that he should be in the Hall of Fame. But that's a story for a different time. Maybe we should do a video like that. Some guys who live for the Hall of Fame, like Hines Ward, should be in the Hall of Fame. Like that, but it is what it is, I guess. The next person on the list at number 5, I got Stefan Diggs. Stefan Diggs is an amazing receiver. I don't know what's going on with the things with the Bills. Like, I don't people said the rumor about him maybe you want to get out, I want to get traded somewhere like that. If you do want to get traded, come to Pittsburgh. But Stefan Diggs, I think, is a good receiver, very good route runner, explosive receiver, make big time plays, and just always on the spot. He helped Josh Allen out a lot too, because Josh Allen was pretty good. You know, his first year, his rookie year, we seen the talent and the bright spots. Second year, we seen him. He threw 20 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. They lost to the Texans in that one playoff game, and then we finally see him. They traded and said, "Hey, we're gonna get Stefan Diggs over here. You're our strong arm QB and number one receiver." And what happened? He went from that type of like all right, kind of like it's all right. It's a pretty good season maybe to being second in MVP votes behind Aaron Rodgers the following year. So Josh Allen kind of shot up at the cannon after Stefan Diggs got there with them, and Stefan Diggs is a big time receiver. Next, I got Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is very explosive. He came in the league explosive. It's like and him and Joe Burrow chemistry is probably second to none. Those guys have been playing since college, so like they have a different type of chemistry and different type of wavelength or something like that, and they can just look at each other and know what they're gonna do. And Joe Burrow trusts Jamar Chase a lot. We're fourth down. On fourth down, you think on 4th and 3. I think it was 4th and 3 or 4th and 4. You think you go for like the pass to get the ball past the line, like a short pass. Joe Burrow just dropped back. Remember, he threw the ball in the AFC Championship game, a jump ball up to Jamar Chase. The trust he have, and Jamar Chase came down. 2 guys defending him like that. That right there is just like gutsy, and the trust you have in receiver. And Jamar Chase is a big time receiver you can go to. He's very explosive. The speed is crazy. And ever since his rookie year, he's just been coming here and balling. You know, he had the injuries and stuff that happened to him last season, but I still got him in top 5. Next, I have Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, the cheetah. His speed speaks for himself. He's the fastest guy in the NFL. He's very explosive. If you get the ball in his hands, it's most likely going to be a home run hit, because Tyreek Hill is just different. He's just different like that. And making turn a 5-yard reception to a 55-yard reception like that. His explosiveness, his quickness, and he always protects himself well too as well. He'll get the ball, he'll drop down, got to bounce like that. But it's just like he's kind of unguardable, really. Unguardable a little bit. I remember early on, because like he was a speed guy, a track guy. When they got him, it's kind of like a little project, kind of a little bit when the Chiefs got him. Of course, we played a little football. He played football, of course, but he was doing a lot of track and field stuff in college as well, like that, kind of mixing. And you know, they kind of like get the track and field guys and bring them to college teams. A lot of college teams do that and try to bring them to football. And you know, Tyreek Hill's a guy who can be explosive, he's a kick returner, punt returner, but then he started kind of like developing more and get his hands better. And now you see him just go out there and just making big time plays and just being a burner out there. That's why I got him at number 3. Next is Devonte Adams, a guy who's been very, very consistent. I know some people might say he might be number 1, but I couldn't put him over the guy I got at number 1, as you probably might already know. But Devonte Adams, I got him at number 2. Very consistent. Had a big time year last year, even without Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback, on a new different team, new system. He's been very good. Big receiver down the field. His like the way he get off the line, the way he get off the out of his break like that, it's just spectacular. Cause like you look at Devonte Adams, he's not really a burner. Like he's not gonna burn you or burn like that. But he of course he got speed, of course too. He got speed, but like you watch him like when he snap the ball and the way he just moves and like so shifty and so smooth with his route running, he's always open like that. And plus he's tall too as well. He's about 6. He might be tall. I think he's taller than me. It might be the same height actually. I think he's 6'3". He's 6'3". Yeah, but he get the kind of the shiftiness and that ability just like to break out, and his breakouts are just so smooth and so nice to watch and stuff. And Devonte Adams it's just like a beauty to watch like that. And then when him and Aaron Rodgers together, that was a perfect match right there. He helped Aaron Rodgers win a lot of those MVPs because Devonte Adams is big time like that. But he's one of those guys who you just know, like, if I call this route right here, he gonna be right at that spot. I just got to throw it to that spot, really. I ain't got to look over there. I know he's gonna be there. You ain't got to look over there at all. Just throw it to that spot. He's gonna be right there waiting to catch the ball. But number 1 on the list, you guys already know, Justin Jefferson, Jay Jettis. The little gritty dance, the little dance we doing and stuff like that. But Justin Jefferson is an amazing receiver, big time receiver. Since he got in the league, he's been putting up some crazy numbers. You see his numbers and stats from 1,400 to 1,600 to 1,800. You're like, man, this guy just putting up big time numbers, and every year it's getting better. Cause you think a receiver coming in the league and put up 1,400 yards, you're like, okay, maybe that's like his peak. Like, nope, Justin Jefferson got more, 1,600. Maybe that's his peak. Nope, Yeah, I got more, 1,800. So you're like, dang, this man is unstoppable. LSU has some big time guys over there like that when they had him and Jamar Chase and all those guys. But Justin Jefferson is an amazing receiver, amazing receiver. You watch his games and just watch his craftiness like that with his route running and his explosion and the way he can kind of like spark into the team, into the offense. It's amazing to watch. It's just fun to see like that. But Justin Jefferson gonna get paid some big time money. He'll be the highest paid receiver probably ever, most likely, because Justin Jefferson is that guy. I got him at number one. He's just too dynamic. He's just too good. He's just very too he's unstoppable, unguardable. You can put 2 on him. You can put 3 on him. It might not work like that. We've seen the big time plays. Remember that big time catch he had last year against the Bills on 4th down. On 4th down, the one-handed catch, snagging it while getting dragged down, snagging it from the defender as well, and then just like the shiftiness like he had like that. I remember his rookie year when he first came in, his first touchdown. Like, you know, a guy's cold when he came into the league and he scored a touchdown and he hit the dance, his gritty dance before he get in the end zone, his first touchdown. That right there set it off like, yep, this guy is different. And then his play speaks for itself like that. I love his personality, his character, his play style. It just merged together and it just works so well. And he's gonna be a big time receiver. He keep these numbers up. He might see himself up there with Jerry Rice. I'm not saying he's Jerry Rice, of course. We know Jerry Rice had 20,000 receiving yards, and then put up 1,000 yards when he was 40 years old. And Jerry Rice is an amazing receiver, but Justin Jefferson stay on this track, putting up these 1,400, 1,600, 1,800 yards for the next 7, 8 years. He might see himself up there in that top 5 receivers ever like that. But Justin Jefferson still a long way to go, but so far, really legendary and great like that. But that's all I got for this video today, guys. I know this video went a little longer than expected, but it's always fun talking about the game of football. But I'll see you guys next time on the channel. Let me know if you agree with the list or not, who you change on the list, who you add to the list. But I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.